Hi, this is Shelley Kraft coming to you live on SNNLive. We're at the PortTech Expo 2014 in San Pedro, California. I have with me Mr. David Saltman of Malama Composites. It's a private company. David, welcome to SNNLive.
Thank you so much, Shelley, and thanks for having us on your network.
It's good to have you. Let's get right into it. Malama sounds Hawaiian to me, but I don't know.
No, it came from a Hawaiian word which means to care for and protect. Actually, Malama is a Polynesian word, and that's very much sort of at the heart of our company. We make environmental materials and we look to make some contribution to protecting the planet at the same time.
I feel it sounds green. What's going on?
Right, so what we do is we actually manufacture rigid polyurethane foams that compete directly with petroleum-based foams and are used by industry for a wide range of industrial applications. So urethanes are actually used in homes as an insulation, in automobiles. They're carved into movie sets. And until now, those foams have essentially been made out of petroleum chemicals. They're toxic, very difficult to recycle. So we're making cost-competitive materials that walk and talk and quack just like a real foam, but made from plant-based raw materials.
So you must be a very big fan favorite of the environmentalists, governments, agencies, local. I mean, come on.
Well, there are now powerful winds guiding us. Part of it is the U.S. Green Building Council and its LEED certification program, which favors biomaterials, but also looks at indoor air quality, so our materials don't off-gas and they're safer for not only for the environment but for human beings. And also government purchasing programs like the federal green purchasing guidelines and biomaterials programs, which do give us some advantages when we're up there competing against Dow and Huntsman and BASF and a couple little companies.
So let me ask you. I know my audience is going to ask this question. Everything is the same, the strength, what you can do with it, building-wise. I mean, the only thing different between your product and petroleum-based products is they're toxic and you're not?
Yeah, that's the catch. I'm afraid it's really true. I think that is because for a long period of time, we've really looked at petroleum as the feedstock, not just for fuels, but for all of industry, for all of our plastics and all of our building materials. And really there hasn't been a market driver looking at carbohydrates like plant-based materials, soy and castor, algae even as a feedstock. What we've done is enter into markets where we feel we can be cost competitive, and the places where we may be able to build beautiful materials but we can't be cost competitive, we've let that take a back burner on our R&D schedule.
What's your background?
I'd hate to tell you that. I started out, believe it or not, launching TV networks. I was one of the founders of E! But for the last 20 years, since I sort of am a reformed guy like you, I've gone to the light side of things. And for the last 2 decades, I've done nothing but environmental projects, everything from running public solar companies to materials companies.
So why are you at PortTech? I mean, I'm glad to meet you and get to know you, but why here?
Well, it's interesting. The port uses a huge amount of materials. So the infrastructure of a place like the Port of Los Angeles is one of the largest ports in the world, obviously. 60% of what comes in here is used locally, and yet it's its own closed set, its own world. So selling to the port for their buildings, for pipe insulation, for their infrastructure, that's a big deal for us. And also, we've developed building systems that we can export from this port to areas around the world. So for very lightweight, high-performance building systems using our foam, we can be located right here in town, right in the port, and export around the world.
If you could tell our audience your dream of having market share,
yeah,
from a business standpoint, what market share would you be comfortable, well, more than comfortable, happy achieving against petroleum products?
Yeah, it's a good question. Just the markets for polyurethane foam alone, just exactly what we compete with in the U.S. is about a $10 billion market. And if we achieved a 1% market share of that in a couple of years, $100 million in sales, that's a nice, comfortable, very profitable number for us. I think 1% is a conservative projection, but I tend to live that way. I'm accused enough of having my head in the clouds. So I think being conservative from a trajectory, financial trajectory for our company, at about a 1% market share, we're doing very good business.
So you're not a startup. You're closer to a ramp up.
That's true.
So when do you go into full blast manufacturing, distribution, sales, and revenue growth?
Right, so that's the fourth quarter, literally the fourth quarter of this year. We expect to do about 100 times what we've been done in the past. So all the sales we've made to date have actually been R&D sales. We've been proving out our customer base. We've been self-financing. Now we're in the middle of a capital raise that's all to build capacity. So we really currently have the capacity to make 6 or 7 truckloads a day of material. This is the real deal. And so it's an exciting time at Malama Composites.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to get a website for you, so get your pencils out. Website, please.
Very simple. It's just malamacomposites.com. So that's M-A-L-A-M-A Composites, and we'd be happy to talk to you.
Ladies and gentlemen, David Saltman. I want you to know it's from Malama, M-A-L-A-M-A Composites. It's a private company. I'm Shelley Kraft. This is SNNLive, and we're at the PortTech Expo 2014 here in San Pedro, California. Thanks for coming on.
Terrific. Thanks, Shelley.